meeting of the AC Valley School Board. We are going to start the meeting with our flag salute. If everyone will stand, say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll have a moment of silence. Tammy, will you call the roll, please? Carrie Armaglass, here. Megan Dreher, here. Brady Fight, Diane Page, here. Jeff Powell,
Here.
Corey Sherman,
Here.
Jermaine Stump, here. Eric Sunlight, Kelly Twilliger. We don't have anybody, Kelly's not on.
No,
Right,
no,
okay.
Kelly.
All right, can I have a motion to waive the reading of the minutes and approve those? Anybody want to make a motion?
I so move.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. We did have some public participation last week in the workshop. Stan Bailey, he is with us again tonight. Stan, is there anything else that you wanted to add during the public participation portion?
No, unless there's any question.
Okay. Rich, anything from you?
Yeah, just a question on the activity figures, if you guys come up with anything or if you decided anything.
I'll defer to David and Lori.
We don't have a motion on this agenda at this time. Lori did collect the information and shared it with the school board. At this time, we don't have a discussion going on.
Well, that's why I was asking, because it was going to be, you had suggested they come to you and you were going to talk about it, and I just was wondering if there was going to be anything thrown up or anything, that's why I was asking. That's all. Do you have any plans of talking about it, I guess is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, Lori is still, she collected information and sent it out to the school board. We're still discussing it. We're approving the budget.
I guess that's what I'm asking, are you still?
Yeah, we just haven't came up with,
Works and-
a decision one way or the other. There's a lot of schools doing a lot of different things. The gas prices, fuel prices continue to increase. I mean, we watch the economy.
Yeah, like I say, because we're hearing rumors that they're talking it being $8 a gallon before August.
Wow.
Yeah, that's scary.
Thank you, Rich. We'll keep that discussion going.
I don't think we have any other public participation and no presentations tonight. Are there any board concerns that anyone needs to address? All right. Jameen, you want to take care of the consent agenda?
I was enjoying the yearbook.
Oh, sorry.
Gotta find it here. Consent agenda, do we have to do them separately?
No, you can do it all together.
Okay, let's put A through D together. So approve the conference and field trips requests. Approve Doug Mays as the substitute teacher administrator. Accept the donation of the CNC router and software from the Mercer County Career Center. And to approve the request from AC Valley Band Boosters, Christy Chamber, to use the concession stand for the varsity football game. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Megan, can you take care of finance and purchase for us?
Yes, A through G together, have the approved summary.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Mrs. Redding, cafeteria report.
I don't have anything this month other than the end of the school year went great, field trips went great, and we're looking forward to the start of the new school year. That's all I have.
Awesome.
Thank you. Letter I, consideration to approve the following secondary depositories for the 2022-2023 school year. Number one, PLNGIT capital reserve account. Number two, Farmers National Bank athletic account. Number three, Farmers National Bank activities account number 4, cafeteria account number 5, non-interest bearing account number 6, scholarship account number 7, capital projects number 8, first program. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion carries.
J, consideration to approve as presented the 2022-2023 fringe benefit costs as listed below. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
K, consideration to approve the homestead farmstead tax exclusion resolution as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
L, consideration to approve the 2022-2023 school year, all federal programs and grants as part of the district budget.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
I'm going to put M and N together. So consideration to accept the proposal dated May 26, 2022 from Zach Shekel Esquire to act as solicitor for the Allegheny Clarion Valley School District at a rate of $100 per hour for attorney time and $30 per hour for legal assistant time for the 2022-2023 school year as attached. And consideration to accept the proposal dated June 1st, 2022 from Mark Kupar Esquire for labor and employment legal services for next school year beginning July 1st, 2022 at a rate of $225 per hour attorney time and $185 per hour associate time and $135 per hour paralegal time. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
O, consideration to accept the fee letter of 2022-2023 school year from Knox Law dated June 1st, 2022 for specialized legal services to be provided to the district in collaboration with the district solicitor for the 2022-2023 school year as attached.
Second.
That has been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
P, consideration to approve the 2022-2023 AC Valley School budget in the amount of $16,338,476. The local portion of revenue to support the proposed budget will result in the following tax levels in the 4 counties. Armstrong County is 31.6 mils when compared to last year at 33.31 mils. Butler is 78.92 mils when compared to last year's 70.11 mils. Clarion is 52.07 mils when compared to last year's 56.58 mils. And Venango is 15.3 mils when compared to last year's 13.96 mils. $5 per capita in section 679, $5 per capita in Act 511, 1% earned income, which is shared with municipalities where applicable, 1% real estate transfer tax shared with municipalities where applicable, 2% discount where applicable, and 10% penalty where applicable to be determined. So
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on budget? Any clarification that anyone needs before we vote?
The only changes I'd like to add, Carrie, is with the ESSER grant. Now, we were unable to find a math teacher to replace Mary Rothen, who was going into the newly created math coach position. So we've eliminated that from the ESSER application. We'll go into change in narrative. So that money will be used to help offset other remediation within the district. And then also, we used ESSER 2 to cover the social worker for the first 2 years, and ESSER 2 money went away. We had money initially in the ESSER 3 grant for a K-12 counselor. We're going to eliminate adding the counselor, use that money to offset the social worker. The social worker's been here for 2 years, has developed relationships, and working closely with the current school counselor. So those are a couple changes that I wanted to add
Yeah,
Andrew?
and I did put, a sheet in front of everybody showing, the most recent changes, the changes that have occurred since our last board meeting. And I can just quickly go over that. The real estate taxes had changed, due to getting, another assessment from Butler County. So, from our last meeting, we had, on the last budget, we looked at 3,215,118, and the final number is 3,216,550. There were changes as well to the basic education funding and the special education funding. The special education funding, the basic education funding went from 6,374,212 to 6,315,617. Special education went from 771,872 to 774,720,000. We did get the final numbers for title, so you'll see those changes as well. They came in a little late this year. So Title I, we were originally anticipating $211,517, and we're getting $187,882. Title II, we were originally planning $27,116. We're receiving $27,303. And then for Title IV, $15,902, we're getting $14,236. As far as the ESSER grant, we had planned on purchasing another school van this school year. However, due to not being able to find one, we're going to try to do that next year. So there was an increase in the ARP ESSER revenue to include that van cost. Under the expenditures, the changes from the last meeting to now, we have added $2,000 under student activities for a job fair in 22-23. The salaries were all updated to what is projected on the budget because they were originally projected at 2.5%. We also added $2,000 to the budget for the student AmeriCorps workers to cover what the Title IV will not cover. I added a number for long-term subs for their health care for next year. Also, there's the amount for the van that was added. And I also just put in there the removal of the high school math coach, and the removal of the counselor. And then the other change was that there is one teacher doing gifted next year instead of two. This does not change anything financially because there is no additional funding for the gifted. It's just a matter of coding changes. But I did want to make you aware of that. And I know I gave you guys a lot of papers tonight, but I wanted everybody to have line by line copies of the budget, and also a copy of, if approved, the budget that will be submitted to PDD tomorrow. So this is just a breakdown summary of our line by line items.
So final deficit then is what you have highlighted of $563,488.
Yes, removing the math coach and the counselor position and putting that funding on there.
Questions, concerns?
Did you see that number?
It's on the highlighted sheet that has the highlighted.
It's on the revenue page.
I didn't have those yet.
Are we ready to vote, or does anybody need anything? Okay. Someone want to make a motion? Or we had a motion, sorry, we did that. We're ready to vote. I apologize. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right. Personnel. Corey, can you take care of that?
All right, I'm gonna put letters A through E together, straight to approve the request of the employee 248, 137, 378, 133, and 338. Retroactively approve the unpaid days as listed. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
All right, letter F, consideration to approve an hourly stipend in the amount of $25, not to exceed 5 hours per week for Jody Shapley for the 2022-2023 school year. So
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
letter G, consideration to approve the retroactive request for Amber Dehart to be a volunteer for the 4th grade class field trip on May 24th, 2022, PTO and with the district. All required paperwork for Amber has been received in the district office. So
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried.
letter H, consideration to approve eliminating the 2 part-time, 4-hour and 30-minute per day light-duty grant-funded ESER 2 custodial positions effective June 30th, 2022. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
letter I, consideration to approve, due to the conclusion of ESER 2 grant funds, employees number 131 and 138 resuming their regular part-time 3 hours per day light-duty custodial position effective July 1, 2022. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
letter J, consideration to accept the letter of resignation as junior high student council advisor for Melinda Farrington dated May 24th, 2022 as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
letter K, consideration to approve posting in-house for a junior high student council advisor. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Sorry. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
letter L, consideration to approve the agreement with Key Solution Educational Staffing LLC for the 2022-2023 academic year for Director of Special Education Administrative Services as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on that? All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Am I able to lump the contracts together?
Those need to be voted on.
I voted on them separate, yeah.
Letter M, consideration to approve the 2022 through 2025 ACV ESPA contract as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter N, consideration to approve the 2022 through 2025 business manager contract as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. David, is there anything that you wanted to discuss at this point in time regarding the changes?
No, they're all very similar for the most part. They're aligned with the professional staff contract. Everybody with all these contracts are averaging a 2.8% increase over the course of 3 years. There's an increase in healthcare to a $400, $800 deductible, $10 increase of prescription drugs, and there was a couple other minor changes within various contracts. But I do appreciate the negotiation committee from the board and the staff who are involved with that, because we've been working on this for the past couple months.
Any questions there? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter O, consideration to approve the 2022 through 2025 buildings and grounds contract as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter P, consideration to approve the 2022 through 2025 food service director contract as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter Q, consideration to approve the 2022 through 2025 meet and discuss contract as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter R, consideration to approve the 2022 through 2025 school police contract as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter S, consideration to approve the MOA with the Allegheny Claring Valley School District and the ACV, EA, and Julie Raybuck for work performed during the summer cyber school as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I did speak to Julie about this. We do not anticipate very many days this summer because we do have a decreasing number of students in our program, and she will be working with Mike McGackey to make that transition and be the point of contact as well. So unlike years in past where the program is growing, it's actually becoming smaller, which is good.
Any questions on that? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Letter T, consideration to approve the MOA with the Allegheny Claring Valley School District and ACV, EA, and many others for work performed during the summer. Planning and schedule changes resulting from the special education audit as attached. So moved.
Moved and seconded. Discussion?
The same thing with Minnie. She may be here a day, maybe a little bit longer, but with our special education audit, and we'll be meeting at the end of June, and I'll present more information about that in July. There is some areas up at the high school where we have to do more inclusive practice. So we're going to have to modify the schedules. The director of special education will be here, a number of special ed teachers, and then Mrs. Lowe to make the changes in the focus system. So that's the reason why that MOA is in.
Any questions? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. All right, instructional services. Diane, will you do instructional services for us?
We have the elementary report, please.
Sure. So we ended our year very busy. We had our metric meet on May 20th where Mr. Harold Broom came out the winners. On May 25th, we had our sixth grade recognition program. 43 sixth graders received certificates and will be moving up to the junior high. May 26th, the PTO held their annual fun day, and it certainly was fun. Kids were having a great time as well as teachers. Several of us had to sit in a dunk tank and the kids really enjoyed that. Wasn't as bad as I anticipated. And I want to give big thanks to the PTO for that. They worked very hard to put that all together and the kids really do enjoy it. The other thing I wanted to go over tonight was extra seats. I put Tammy put it for me, the colorful iReady data. At the end of the year, actually it was right after the last day of school, Mr. Heil and I met to just talk about how the year went. This was his first year as math coach, so sort of a reflection on, what went well, what he'd like to improve. And we were talking about, just as a follow-up to his presentation that he gave you, kind of letting you guys see how the year ended. And this was the most succinct piece of data that we felt we could give you to show where we ended up. So on one side, if you see at the top, it says 2021 window 3, and on the other side, it says 21-22 window 3. And this is K to 6, so it's a picture of the whole school. When we talk often about that triangle where we want the red to be the smallest and the green to be the biggest. We certainly still have work to do, but if you see in 2020, 2021, the percent of our at-risk students, which is tier 3, was 7%, and we ended this year at 4%. So comparing where we were at the end of last year and where we are building wide at the end of the year this year. And then our green, which is where we want to really grow our students, we ended last year at 36% in the tier 1, which means that they're basically on grade level where we need them to be or above. And this year we ended at 42%. So we're moving in the right direction. And that's thanks to the hard work of our teachers at providing the interventions and working with Mr. Heil to get better at doing that with individuals and small groups. Some of the changes that we talked about him making for next year, he's going to start off next year using this year's end of year data. We will still do beginning of year data through like iReady and Dibbles for the ELA. But he's going to hold off on his 2 particular diagnostics until middle of year. That way, rather than wasting the first month and a half of school doing those diagnostics, he'll use the data we already have, get the group started right away, and then we can flex students if we see that there's kids in the classrooms that need the small groups, or vice versa. If they're in small groups and they've made enough gains and need to go back in. So it's kind of a hit the ground running type of thing, rather than delay it until we can do the diagnostics. There is always a summer lag over the summer, and so sometimes those diagnostics aren't completely accurate because once kids get back in the swing of things, they pick it back up and do a little better. So we're going to kind of let them do that. We had talked about just doing it with kindergarten, but decided that building wide, it would be better for him to just jump in and start doing the groups and interventions right away. So that's what we talked about at the end of the year, and we just wanted to fill you in on that and how things went with the math coach since this was year 1. And that's all I have for tonight, unless you have questions about that.
Thank you. We have a second report, please.
I would like to start off by congratulating the class of 2022 one more time. It really was a fantastic, hardworking group of kids that young men and women that I feel will be very successful in the years to come. Kudos to every teacher, kindergarten through 12th grade, to make those kids be able to graduate and have the success that they have. The end of the school year closed at the high school with a lot of activity as well. I want to thank my PBIS team for putting together the first official metric meet, which was a reward for PBIS and the students getting and turning in those SOAR cards. I would also like to thank Mrs. Farrington and the student council for helping out with the spring fling and making that happen as well. I think the students had a great time. The weather was just absolutely wonderful, and it really got the summer started for the students. And it was a good kickoff for summer. I want to report that all the state mandated testing was completed before the actual window that they give us. And in fact, we actually got our PSSA scores back early this year because we were able to meet an earlier deadline. So we will be, the administration will be talking about those test scores, analyzing those, and presenting some of that to you at another time. This was probably, I think, this spring, the way it all worked out was probably one of the better testing years that we've had as far as how it all was implemented and how everything was collected, boxed back up and sent in. We really didn't have any problems whatsoever. And I appreciate the hard work that Mrs. Sherman and Mrs. Funford put into helping me do that. At your seat, I placed a schedule, and just want to make sure everybody knows this schedule is still a piece in action that we are working on. The reason for that is just it's, number one, it's just difficult to pull it all together. If you don't know, we actually start the scheduling process right around the end of January. And start pulling the coursework together and sending out course requests to the students. We collect those back, and we take a look at how many students are in each of the courses, and then we break down how many courses we need. So if you look there, anything that you see in parentheses, any number, that's the current number of students that are in that class. For instance, period 1, Allie Atwood, ELA 7, 20 students in that class. Mrs. Lowe will continue to do leveling, and what she does is she will take and look through that student list and try to see where those students can move to be able to level that class out a little bit. Also, as David mentioned, at the high school, we are working on adding some co-teaching opportunities for our teachers so that we can meet a level of inclusion that is required due to the special ed audit. If you look in green, I'll give you an example. Period 1, you can see math 8 with Tracy Hartle has a little I there, that's an inclusion class. And the inclusion class that matches is Math 8 with Luke Levan. So we were able to do that. Our initial goal was just to get the core content classes for 7th and 8th grade in both ELA and math. But we were actually able to get a few classes beyond that. There's an inclusion course for ELA 9, a couple math courses for algebra, and so we were happy to be able to do that. That gets us headed in the right direction as far as meeting those requirements. One of the things I wanted to mention too that is always difficult is just being able to provide everybody with lunch, provide everybody with a prep, and to cover both our study halls and in-school suspension. The way this schedule is right now, all of those things are covered, even despite the fact that we lost Sean Miller down here at the elementary. So Mrs. Loeb has worked very hard on that, and I appreciate her time and efforts. And like I say, it's a continuing work in action, and we will continue to try to provide students with all the courses that they really want and maintain decent class size. Do you have any questions as far as that schedule goes?
Bill, as you continue to develop this schedule, can you provide us with information next month as well? And then
Sure.
July, because I do see some gaps in there, and maybe all the student numbers aren't placed in there. Just updated information would be great.
Sure. One last thing, if you haven't heard or didn't know, we had some successful athletes in our combined track program with Union, and we actually had some state gold medal winners this year, and that's quite an accomplishment. And I think that the combination of joining with Union and coaching was just a powerful piece. But of course, student skill level is also a big part of that as well. But kudos to those students, and especially Bailey Blauser, former senior Bailey Blauser, who won 2 gold medals downstate. So hopefully those are kind of omens for good things to come. And that is my secondary report.
Question, did the Spanish trip legal in the Spanish trip?
No, they're still fundraising. for
It's
that.
scheduled for next summer.
Consideration to approve the list of graduating seniors of the class of 2022 and attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve the 2022, 2023 fundraising calendar as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Consideration to approve the request from John Irwin to attend the ESPN Wide World of Sports Baseball Spring Training in Orlando, Florida on March 18th through the 25th, 2023 as attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? That didn't conflict with PSSAs or anything, right, Bill?
No.
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Do we have a federal programs report?
The only thing I wanted to point out was just what I went over earlier when I was talking about the budget, is the changes in the title allocations for 22-23. And those numbers are on that sheet that I gave you. Like I said, we got them a little late this year. We normally know the numbers early on, but we're finding them out later and later, and they could possibly change again as well. But those are the current figures right now.
The district report?
Thank you, Diane. I'll start off with an update from the Pennsylvania Department of Education. We do have a new acting secretary. His name's Eric Hagerty. He's been with the Wolf administration for a good number of years. Eric's a friend of public education. We've met with him several times. His communication is open, and he's doing a good job at this time. We also have a new Deputy Secretary of Education in the Office of Elementary and Secondary Education, David Volkman. He's probably the longest serving employee from the Pennsylvania Department of Education, and he's doing a great job as well. I'm sure with the new administration, we'll have an entire new cabinet in there as well. So I'll provide more updates when we get them. The second item is from PDE as well, is information about the emergency instructional time template, section 520.1 of the school code. And if you recall, we've approved this document the last 2 years, and it provides us with the ability to provide remote instruction if needed, a hybrid educational plan. There's a couple different options that we have in there. In July, I'll have that document in front of you for you to approve, in the anticipation that we may have to do some kind of optional instructional program next year. Hopefully not. We're all optimistic to be face-to-face the entire year. But keep in mind that they're a 1-year provision, and that we have to provide information as far as how we're going to educate the students, what to do if we're closed down as far as remote learning with the learning packets as well as the Google Classroom. So we put all that information in there. You'll approve it next month, and I'll submit it into PDE. And just keep in mind that this is all to ensure that these students are permitted to have faith, the free and appropriate public education, whether it's face-to-face or remote. In addition to that, I just wanted to make note that I did present the Act 44 safety report to the school board in executive session after the workshop. This report is not subject to the right to know clause. After Tammy writes up the minutes, we will submit that into PDE, and we'll be in compliance with that. Update on comprehensive planning. We've had our third and final meeting. 80% of the comprehensive plan is completed. July 1st, we'll put it on public display. We'll approve the plan in July, and then we'll submit it into PDE before August 30th, which is the due date. Part of that plan, you'll see, is the special education plan, the teacher induction plan, and then we have a gifted piece as well. So we've been working internally here to update that information. A couple more items: health and safety pandemic plan, that's due for a revision as well in July. I've made some modifications to it, made very minor changes, sent it out to the committee for feedback, and then in July we'll approve that. We have to approve that plan every 6 months according to ESSER money as well. Plus, things are changing as well, so information to come. At your seat, you'll see a PA School Works document that comes from PSBA. It's an annual report that they provide. Just keep in mind that Pennsylvania is ranked number 46 out of 50 states on school spending. On page 2, towards the bottom, if you take a look at that, our instructional, this is specific to AC Valley. Our instructional expenses from 2011 went up 44%, $3,377,654, and state funding actually decreased 1%. We actually lost $51,382. Our special education costs went up 54%. That's just over $1 million. And state funding to match that only went up 8%, which is $48,045. And then finally, the charter school payment went up a whopping 194%, increased $365,370. And keep in mind, we have no reimbursement or no funding from the state for that. So as you can tell, I thank Andrea for all the work that she put into the budget and the staff here at AC Valley. It's been a tough couple of years with COVID, and then the fact that our budget's been lopsided, and it's just some information for you to ponder as we continue to move forward. We're pretty tight right now at AC Valley. We don't have a whole lot of fluff. We don't have a whole lot of extra positions out there. We're doing the best job we can, and we'll continue to work with the budget and advocate for public education. We did get some disappointing news from the Capitol that the Senate had actually blocked Governor Wolf's injunction to modify some of the charter school payments and some of the reporting procedures, which is very disappointing because we were hoping that that'd be a step in the right direction so that we can have at least a little bit more transparency and they can submit a budget just like we are tonight that outlines our expenditures and revenues. And until that happens, I really don't have a good answer for cyber charter reform at this time. It's a darn shame because we have to complete this section 520.1. We're not allowed to go into remote instruction. There's emergency procedures, we have to be face-to-face, but I just don't understand why the folks in Harrisburg support cyber school education, which is fully remote. You've heard me complain enough about that, so I'll move on. And the final thing I'd like to add is the superintendent evaluation is underneath as PA School Works. There's 2 documents there. Take some time and look at that and complete it and collaborate. And in July, we'll stay after an executive session and discuss that as we finish off the school year. And Diane, that'll conclude my report.
Thank you. Consideration to approve the enrollment class size data and staff for the 2021-2022 school year dated June 16, 2022 is attached. So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
We have a student report.
So as Mr. Jordan mentioned previously, some of the events that were held at the end of the end of May for the high school students were the PBIS metric meet, the spring fling event, and graduation. So students were awarded a metric meet by the PBIS team because we were able to turn in, I believe it was 2,500 SOAR cards, and that was our end of year goal. And for spring fling, student council always helps organize the spring fling. It's an opportunity for some clubs to sell different, carnival food almost. Like, I know for my club, we sold popsicles. I think Spanish club, they sold like walking tacos, and art club, they were able to sell some friendship bracelets. So it's an opportunity for clubs to get involved. And there are also many opportunities for students to participate in outdoor games. And, I think there was a movie that they also played this year. And then for graduation, I know many of the seniors, they were very anxious for their graduation, even though it may have been a little warm that day in the gym. I know that they were all grateful to finally graduate and move on to the next chapter of their lives. So, I know many of the students, they're also looking forward to an amazing summer.
Grace, could you provide us with a brief overview of this learning opportunity that you have at Brown University this summer?
Yes, so over the summer, well, it's back in the spring, I applied to go to a summer program. It's a 2-week program at Brown University, and it will start on June 19th, and it goes until July 1st. So I will be able to take a class on infectious and epidemic diseases, and I will also be able to explore Providence, Rhode Island, and hopefully we'll be able to participate in, they call them excursions, so maybe even going to a local beach or going to other shopping events or any other exciting events that they have planned. I just know I'm extremely excited for this upcoming opportunity, and I'm also looking forward to meeting many new people.
Good for you.
Good job, Grace.
Does that align with what you want to do? Okay, so just curious as if you were going to go into that field when you graduated, which will be here before you know. I do want to mention too, it kind of reminded me when Grace was speaking that we had a ton of our students participate in the local Memorial Day services, and it was great to see AC Valley have a presence. The band participated. Mrs. Lowry sang the national anthem. Grace presented the Gettysburg Address. So we probably had about 40 students participating on Memorial Day. So it was great to see our kids get active in the community. It was great. All right.
We don't have a school police report. It was in the packet.
It was in the packet.
Okay.
All right. I think we are at policy. Mr. Milford, maintenance report.
Been busy summer already.
Nice to see Grace here. Students are out for the summer. She's still here. But we had the high school gym refinished this today with the final coat on it this morning. A hot week to be refinishing gym floor. High school carpet got laid this past week. It's done. A couple more things to do, that more base coat to put on, and they ran out of, and a couple of towels they have to replace. But it looks great. Started working on the power failure last year. We had emergency lighting in our spectator restrooms at high school, so we started working on that day night a day. We're getting that taken care of. So we're running emergency power wires in there, changing light fixtures. That's it.
And Mark, that carpet, is that in the library?
That's correct. High school library. We proved out, I think last month or the month before, they were able to get in here the week after school was out. We took all the furniture we could out of the library, and they took all the whole carpet up and relayed it. It was, the humidity in the library, that's why we had to change it. It gets big creases and drip hazards, so that we had to keep tripping on it. So we had to replace
That's
it.
not good.
That was the reason why we had to replace it. That's all, thank you.
All right. Jeff, you want to take care of transportation for us? Oh, well, probably have to discuss this beforehand. David, this is in regards to the Career Center bus run. We're going to have a discussion before we make a motion. We're going to need some input from the board on what direction we want to take this. Anything additional?
Lori provided information. Lori, is there anything you'd like to add?